I met a gypsy.
You know, you look at your relationship with your old boy, or like our relationship with our parents. I look at Hayden Deegan and Brian, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that always just blew me away with those guys and like knowing them behind the scenes as well is like, fuck man, what a sick dad to just impart that much self-belief in a kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's even if you don't quote unquote, like you made it with PWR.
Yeah.
Like you obviously made it in racing as well.
Yeah.
But PWR is just like the most ridiculous success.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that is forged from a relationship between a father and a son.
Yeah.
And that relationship came through racing.
Oh, exactly.
And committing to a goal and, you know, and like enabling your kid, like you said with your daughter, you know, you're just like providing the opportunity for somebody to like develop as a human.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, the thing is, I think that the best thing about that is if you're able to do it, to be able to do it. But then you see people who are doing it, they're able to do it and they do it for the wrong reasons. And the kid just goes, I don't want to be here, and the other way. Yeah. And that's where the living, you know, through your child, your dream through your child was, oh yeah, I used to race bikes, but I was never, you know, I was never good enough to make it, but he is. Yeah. You know, and yeah, you've actually, like you're talking about Brian Deegan and the Deegans, you know, Brian Deegan rode for us in Brisbane.
Dude, that's a trip.
Brisbane Supercross in like 90. Must have been like 94 or 95 or something like that.
What was that experience like? So what was the deal? You had a team back home.
So we had a Kawasaki team back home. Which
what was it called?
I think it was K&J Radiators.
So it was racing. Before PWR.
It was before PWR. So we had a team that we ran for, must have been about 4 years, 5 years. And so we had... we had Stephen Andrews the first year. Yeah. He rode for us for 1 year, and then the second year, there's a new young guy coming up, a guy called Joel Elliott, and out of Curry. And so
why so many fast motherfuckers from Curry?
We got Craig Anderson, Chad Reed,
Casey Stoner.
I don't know who else you got there now, like coming from there, but you know, there was so many quick kids come out of that area.
That's wild. Well, Toby's Cessna. Maitland,
same area.
Same shit.
Basically same area. And so we had Joel Elliott who rode for us and who unfortunately died here in the States on a trip with us. And that had a crash at a Supercross in Adelaide, got knocked out, hopped on the plane next day, flew to the States. We were already here. Flew to the States, and we had him a ride. We went and raced at Mammoth, the big amateur race at Mammoth. Yeah. And he had a ride with Star Yamaha on 125s for that race.
Wow.
And we'd done a couple of trips prior over here with him, and you know, just quick, really, really quick.
Yeah.
Really good family, really good people, and just never had the opportunity, you know, like mum and dad worked really hard. They'd done everything for the kids
that they could do.
And it was funny. The guy by the name of Mark Pace. And Pacey was a very good motocross rider back in the 70s, 80s, before Gawley, before Dak, around that era. Yeah. And he used to build the Supercross tracks for John Fenton. Huh. And so that's how we knew Pacey, and we said, well, we started running this team and we said, Pacey, hey, how about you come and run it for us and do that? And so then we were like, oh well, you know, let's who can we get to be a senior rider? And so that's when we got Joel Elliott.
Were you still riding at this time?
Yeah, I was still riding at this time, and I can't remember where we were. It was like. Anyway, so before that, he flew over and he was just sick, you know, like sick. Anyway, so
the head knock got
him. They took him up to Reno and had him checked out, and he had fluid on the spine and all that sort of stuff. So he couldn't ride for, the doctor said, a couple of weeks. Come back down to LA here, had him checked out again, got the clearance from the doctor. and we were riding at a nighttime at a lit track.
Like Paris or something?
Not Paris. I can't remember what it was. It was like near Paris somewhere. And anyway, the last session we rode right in front of me, went over the jump, blacked out, going over the jump, went over the handlebars.
So he didn't crash. He
Didn't crash. Blacked out.
No.
And then hopped up. And about 30 seconds later, blacked out again and never regained consciousness. And so apparently had a bleed on the brain or
like
something
an
like that.
aneurysm.
Aneurysm. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. And
I never
so,
knew that.
Yeah, so then we, one of the worst things you ever want to do, and, like every time Keys, had to do it, he wasn't even here. Keys wasn't here. He was in Australia, but, to bring someone else's kid home in a box, to their family, is devastating with, any time that someone, that happens to someone. And so that was a really big, thing for us in that stage. And then so after that, we had bikes and everything, and it was at the Ekka, I think, the Supercross at the Ekka.
Yeah.
And Metzger come out, and Deegan, and I can't remember who else it was. And Brian. I think Brian raced 1 or 2 races on our bikes.
What was your memory of like dealing with him back then?
I think he might have been only 18 or something.
Yeah, he would have been super young
and wild.
Yeah.
And it was actually before the the crusty demon stage of wild.
Yeah,
so,
he still would have just been like full Supercross.
Yeah, he was
mate,
full Supercross and everything like that. So he was a pretty good dude. Metzger Metzger back then was a good dude. We used to hang out. We become really good friends with Doug Dubuck.
Yep.
Back then, and he used to stay at our house and all that sort of stuff. And when I used to come over here, I used to go riding with Doug still up until probably about 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and all that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, it's, like you talk about someone like Brian with, he's a very smart individual. That's where a lot of people probably used to underestimate him of how smart he was.
I think now he just doesn't get the respect.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Like, people just think he's some fucking crazy mini dad.
Yeah.
It's just like,
yeah,
he's just not like he's gnarly.
Oh, he's very smart, very, very smart. And you look at I don't know Hayden and that, but you look at how much that kid wants it and how determined and everything like that. The family, you just look at the family, like it's, you got Hayden, you got Haley, who can drive, very, very good. And that, you just look at the family itself of
just like really high achievers.
Yeah.
He's just like created an environment that's like conducive to like personal growth in a way.
Yeah, that's right. And so like he's really, really cool,
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.